Learning Undefeated Headquarters. This is Let's Talk STEM. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Let's Talk STEM, our very own live stream series where we are going to be bringing STEM professionals right to your own house. Today, we are going to be talking to Desurae Matthews, who is one of our very own education program leads. She works in Texas with our MX lab now on our Texas Mobile STEM labs. And in order to get to know her a little bit better, we're just going to go ahead and take a few trivia questions for you guys to answer. And you're just going to learn a little bit more about her and take some guesses about what some of her favorite things are. So let's get started with that. You can go ahead to www.menti.com and put in our code 8601537. That is 8601537, and you guys can go ahead and join along with us as we're answering these questions. So we are going to give you guys a few seconds to go ahead and join, and then we'll get started with our questions. All right, so let's get on into it. Question number one, what do we think it's going to be? All right, now I've already given you guys a pretty solid hint about this one, but why don't you go ahead and guess what state our guest speaker lives in? Hint, it's in her program name, as we said a little bit earlier. Neck and neck. Looks like we've got one for Texas and one for Maryland. See if we get any more in. You guys have about 30 more seconds. Ooh, one for Florida. Tight race. All right, let's go ahead and see what the correct answer is. That is correct. If you guys all guessed Texas, the three of you, you did it right. Desurae is from Texas, born and bred, and now she still works there. She is a Wharton resident through and through. All right, let's go ahead to question number two. All right, now Desurae loves animals. What do you think her favorite animal is? All right, we've got a couple for tiger. We got one for lion. Let's see, anybody else? Come on, you guys don't want to guess the polar bear dancing? I mean, who doesn't love that guy? Got another one for tiger. All right, let's go ahead and see what that correct answer is. It was lion. So if you guys all guessed tiger, you were incorrect. Wow, that was a really big difference for that one. I can't believe how many of you got it wrong. Let's see, whoever got that one line right, I hope you got our first question right. And let's continue your streak with question number three. All right, this one is a sports question, and for all you sports fans out there, we do know that Desurae is from Texas, so don't get it twisted. What sport do you think is her favorite? Good waiting music while you guys ponder. All right, we got one for basketball. Yeah, I'm not seeing any for ice hockey. We got a few more for basketball. All right, looks like it's pretty unanimous on this one. Let's go ahead and see which one is her favorite. Basketball. There you guys go. You're getting better at this. All right, let's go ahead into question number 4 out of 5. What kind of experiment do you think is Des's favorite? Now, this one, I think they're just standout, but that just might be me personally. Which one looks the most fun to you guys? There it is. We've got one for explosive experiments. All right, looks like it's shooting up pretty fast for explosive experiments. All right, we've got one for density. Well, if you guys guessed explosive experiments, you would be correct. Explosive experiments are Desurae's favorite, so good on ya. All right, our fifth and final question now before we bring Desurae on with me. What do you guys think is her favorite kind of music? This is a fun one. Now, I feel like you could be swayed somewhere from again with this one. But I mean, you can't go wrong with any of these choices. All great genres are music. We're listening to some pop right now. We've got one for country. That little guy's just vibing. Everybody's just vibing to the music right now. Let's see, anybody else? Any guesses? We've got a few for country. You guys are all kind of sticking to what you're choosing. I don't see any variety. Come on, nobody wants to answer something else. We've got R&B. R&B's coming up. Heavy metal. Interesting. We've got a few takers for heavy metal. All right, let's go ahead and see what is the correct answer for what kind of music is Desiree's favorite. R&B. All right. You guys did fantastic, and congratulations to whoever got all those questions right. Now let's go ahead and bring Desiree on, and we can ask her a little bit more about herself in person. Everybody welcome Desiree Matthews to the stage. Hello, Des.
Hello, hello, hello. How's it going?
It's going good. So as you saw, we had a couple people answer some very interesting questions about you. I think our most hotly debated one was your favorite music. Do you want to speak a little bit to R&B?
Yes, so to be fair, guys, I do like all types of music. So your guess was kind of correct, kind of not, because I have one that stands out, and so it's definitely R&B. I like slow, mellow music, like very slow, very chill. And basically I like to sing. I can't sing, but I like to sing. So R&B kind of gives me that vibe that I'm like Whitney Houston or something. So love
Oh
it.
yeah. I gotta say, that's probably one of my favorites too. I appreciate the representation, R&B all the way. All right, so Des, let's go ahead and get started. We asked you to bring a little gift for us, some show and tell, so you can explain a little bit about the work that you do in STEM education on the MX Lab with our Texas Mobile STEM Labs. So why don't you go ahead and bring it out and show us a little bit about what you brought for us today?
All right, guys. So, as she stated, I work here in Texas on the Texas Mobile STEM Lab, and so my coworker and I, her name's Tori, we are on a Texas road tour. And so basically, we're visiting all these schools in Texas, basically educating the students on STEM and talking about like the engineering design process and getting them motivated to eventually, hopefully, choose a career in STEM. And so, one thing about this job, it's very, very rewarding. The students love it. It's something that they don't typically see all the time 24/7. I mean, it's a mobile STEM lab, right? And so this here is a thank you note, okay? And so this it's not every day that you go places and people are very appreciative to what you do. And so, like I said earlier, this job is very rewarding. This here came from Lone ISD. And so it's very simple. It says thank you. It's fun learning and exploring. And then at the bottom, it says come back again. And so here, when you open it up, you have a message from the teacher, and so she's basically thanking us for coming, telling us that the students really appreciate it. They love the solving the problems and things like that. But here's the cutest part. So I don't know what grade these students were in. It may have been one of our kindergarten classes. So they all signed it. And so I don't
Oh.
know. This was very heartwarming to me to see like the little we get student gifts and like notes from the students all the time, but this is one of the first years, well, this is the first year that we're doing kindergarten here in Texas, and so to get our very first kindergarten note, I wanted to show and tell that with you guys today.
Well, that is so great, and I'm sure that the kids are so thankful that you guys were able to go, and we have a bunch of really cool new curriculum for you guys to go ahead and show them, and I saw a bunch of photos that looked like they had a great time. So obviously, you work a lot with kids in STEM education, but what kind of made you wanna get involved in STEM, and what kind of got you jump started into a career in STEM?
So growing up, I've always been like, well, why? Well, why? Like, you ask a question and I just want to know, well, why? Why does that happen? And I'm sure it probably drove my parents crazy growing up. However, um, I like to know like facts behind whatever it is that I'm doing. And so, of course, choosing a major is not easy. It's not easy at all. And so, whenever I was choosing my major, it was like, English. I really battled between English and kinesiology for a very, very long time. To the fact that I had two majors at one point. I was dual majoring. And then I was like, let's just go all in. Let's do kines. And so off top, the very first thing I wanted to do, I wanted to become a coach. But the thing with kinesiology, because it's such a broad topic, there were so many things. I mean, I love sports. And so there was so many aspects of what I can go into: sports psychology, therapy. I could be a coach, and so it was so many things. So of course that was the original route that I wanted to take. And so then I was in between jobs, and I was on Indeed, and there was something about a mobile STEM lab coming into town, and I'm like, a mobile STEM lab from a small town, so that just didn't sound right to me. And then it said that it was from Maryland, so it's like, huh. And so of course I want to know, as I stated, I wanted to know exactly what this thing is. So I went ahead and applied. And so the thing here about this job is I kind of get the best of all the worlds that I wanted to do. Everybody wants a job that travels, right? Um, I wanted to be a teacher at one point. And so now it's like I get to not only travel, not only teach, but I'm not teaching at one school, I'm teaching at multiple schools. And then I get to teach STEM: science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And so growing up, STEM wasn't as big as it is now, right? Well, I don't want to share my age. However, this whole STEM thing, it wasn't such a big hit growing up. And so to be a part of something that's so new, so driven, and it's constant, STEM isn't going anywhere, right? What's life without science, technology, engineering, and mathematics? And so the reason that I like to basically teach this, or actually, it's not even about teaching it. It's basically opening up the eyes to those students of what is out there, right? So it's there. And so many students don't realize all the different types of jobs and careers there is. And so when we talk about STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, it's it's everywhere, and they don't even realize it. And so to be that person that kind of opens their eyes to a whole new world, because when you say it, they kind of automatically think schoolwork or boring or something like that. But whenever you relate it to the things that they do in their day-to-day lives or things like that, and you get them to want to know why, you've basically opened up a can of worms, and who knows where it's going to take these kids. So it's very rewarding, it's very fun. I mean, I love it.
Yeah, I mean, it must be so inspiring to kind of see these kids have it all click for them on the labs. I know you get to experience that firsthand watching them kind of learn that STEM doesn't really have to be this huge daunting thing as it normally is, because science, technology, engineering, and math in and of themselves are just these huge worlds of so much going on that sometimes it's a bit overwhelming. And that kind of leads me to my next question. A lot of people sometimes think that STEM is a very daunting, scary thing that can be kind of too hard for them, and it's just kind of too much work, and so they kind of give up on having a career in it very early on. Do you have any advice for those kids or any ways for people to kind of overcome those challenges they've experienced?
Well, I must say, you just got to keep going. Find what you love and do it. Okay. And one thing with science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, and I kind of just stated this, but one thing about it, it's so open ended, right? It's not just like, oh, you just have to do this field in science, or you just have to go and build bridges or things like that. It's open ended. There's so many opportunities. So I just say, if it's something you're interested in, but you think, this isn't for me because you don't make the grades, do not let that stop you. Um, Growing up, if you would have told me if you would have told Des 15 years from now that she would be traveling and doing STEM, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, she would have told you you're crazy. Okay, you're crazy. Because science was not like, it wasn't my strong point. Okay. It wasn't my go to subject. Like I said, I struggled with trying to choose between English and science for a while when I was in college. So it wasn't always my ooh, my ah. But what you have to do is you have to find what do you like to do first, because I'm an advocate for doing something you love. Second, how can you turn it into your career? Okay. And so with science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, just you have to do your research and don't get down on yourself. Don't think because you're not good in physics that chemistry may not be for you. Okay. And so that's what I mean. It's open ended. Find what you love, find your nick, and go for it head on.
Yeah, I think that's great advice. I think, powering through is something we can definitely take with us, not only in our careers, but just in everything, especially now. And speaking of kind of your job, now we know that it's a bit different than the ordinary 9 to 5 that you may expect. Um, what do you think is probably the weirdest thing that you have to do every day dealing with our mobile lab?
Hmm. The weirdest thing that I have to do. That's a question. Because one thing about my job, and I tell people this all the time, no day is the same. Okay, no day is the same. No matter how many times we teach those activities, no matter how many times we see those students, no day is ever the same. And so, um, I would say it's expecting the unexpected. Okay. Um, think of a mobile lab as like your normal day, your car, right? And so you get in your car and you think you're just about to just sail right on through. And next thing you know, you hear tut, 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 and you have a flat tire, right? You got a flat tire. And so you have to adjust, you have to abide. So one of the craziest things is expecting the unexpected. Like for instance, we were on the lab not too long ago and just some type of siren or something was going off, and I'm like, what is that? And of course it was, I mean, it was just a CO2 monitor, but you just
Oh, yeah,
never
just
know. And I would, oh yeah, just a CO2 monitor, but you just never know. And one thing about this job, and my colleagues will tell you this, Des doesn't really do tools. Okay, Des is good at a lot of things, but handiwork and tools isn't one of them. And so most 9 to 5s, you wouldn't have to keep, like, thank God for my coworker, she keeps a toolbox in her car. However, most 9 to 5s, you wouldn't expect to have to keep a toolbox in your car. This one's a bit different. You never know when you're gonna have to get dirty. You never know when you're gonna be climbing ladders. Um, there's just it's just endless. So it's definitely different from the typical 9 to 5. No days the same, no students the same, no lessons the same.
I bet, yeah, and with you guys going all over Texas, I mean, that is not a small state, so you are just experiencing all different kind of things every visit you take. Also, shout out to Tori, who is the one I think she's on with us talking about the toolbox, so I bet she's a big help with things like that. And just
Most
before we
definitely.
kind of oh, definitely, yeah. Before we kind of round out into categories, our final game, I kind of wanted to ask. Now, this is probably a bit more personal, but we like to ask, what are kind of a few hobbies that you like to do outside of work, and like how can you kind of relate those back to STEM, and how can you kind of find the STEM in them?
So, hobbies. What do I do for fun? I do a lot of stuff for fun. So it's not like I'm just like, no, I do a lot of stuff for fun. However, my very favorite pastime is to play board games. I'm quite the gamer. I love them. I keep them with me. They're in my car. And so my games are, it's a variety of them. Okay. It's a variety. And so what I've realized lately, and it wasn't always one of my favorites, is that Clue has become one of my favorite games. Um, and I mean, STEM definitely relates. I mean, when you think about forensics and Clue and things of that sort, it's very, very relatable. And also, not only those type of games, but I have nieces and nephews that love to do experiments. And so that's become something that I like to do with them during the holidays. What can we make? What can we see explode? I like to call myself the cool aunt, right? And so you just never know. You just never know what I'm gonna pull out. So any time that I can kind of throw that in there, like we're having fun, but you try and throw in that, hey, you're learning at the same time. That's always a plus. I mean, I'm not saying I just go around doing STEM activities all day. However, whenever I can relate it to my games or when I'm with my nieces, my nephews, my friends, children, we try and get that in every now and then. So,
Yeah, and I shameless plug, but if you wanna check out some of Desiree's, experiments that she does with her nieces and nephews, you can go to our YouTube channel, Learning Undefeated, and find her exploding elephant tutorial, and I think you did reaction in a bag, right? Where you guys blew up a little something in a Ziploc bag?
you
That
are
one is one.
correct.
Yeah. Those are a lot of fun. So, all right. Well, I think that's a great answer. And with that, let's go ahead and get into our second game, categories. And again, we can kind of have our audience play with us. If you guys want to go to the Mentimeter, www.menti.com, code 8601537. Des and I are going to join you guys this time, and we're going to see who is the best at categories. And like you just said, you're a big board games gal, and as am I. So I think this competition might be fierce.
Oh, I definitely agree. Don't like losing.
All right, looks like our letter is gonna be L for this evening, which is actually a little difficult, I gotta say. I was hoping for something like, I don't know, maybe a T or an S.
That would have worked for me too, Kate.
Yeah, yeah. All right, well, we'll have to have a talk with our Charlie's Angels, Allie, our producer behind the screen. Right, so I think let's let everybody kinda get involved. All right, first question. All right, name of a school. Alright, I think I got this one. And you know why? Because I have a quarterback from this school on my fantasy football right now. Ooh, we got a couple good answers. Alright, Des, you wanna share which one was yours?
So, guys, if you were paying attention when I talked about my cute little note here, this note was from Lone ISD. So it's the LOHN, one of the first schools we went to here in Texas that I didn't know existed until I started this road tour.
I love the callback. Always bringing it back. Alright, I
Oh,
said
yeah.
Louisiana State. It looks like we've got a couple people choosing some high schools too. Lincoln High School. We've got Loyola. There's some pretty good answers. All right, guys, let's get into question number 2. All right. It's a bit hard.
This is a hard one. I'm kind of looking around for cheating clues.
Yeah. That's a good one. I'm trying to think of something unique. Long underwear. Okay, whoever said Koga clearly is not getting the goal of this game, guys. We have to say something that starts with L. Ooh, latex gloves is a good one, Des. I bet you've worn those on the lab before, right?
Hey, Kate, not only is it a good one, but it's my answer.
I know you so well.
You do.
Oh, somebody took mine. I put lanyard. Unless I stole somebody's. Sorry if I stole yours. I really thought I was being unique. I gotta say, I think my favorite on this one is long underwear. Just because it's getting cold out there. I know probably not in Texas, but it's 40s here, so I think that's a necessity.
Yikes.
Is it warm down
40s.
there?
Oh, no. It's cool to me, but I can't make it in the 40s, that's for sure.
Yeah. And it's been cold at night. Let me find this. This one's hard.
You guys didn't prep me for this.
We'll make sure to send a longer list next time. I'm trying to think if I can stretch a name. Ooh.
Our viewers
You
are
guys have
hilarious.
I know, you have the right idea, just the wrong Leonardo, it looks like. This is hard. I mean, LeBron James could be a scientist. I mean, his three-point shots got quite the arc, you know? It takes some skill to do that.
I agree.
I don't know, I think I might have to pass. Limp Bizkit. All right. You guys have a good sense of humor. I'm glad whoever's watching out there is having fun because I cannot think of anything. All right, next one.
Huh.
All right.
This one.
You've got the upper hand.
I do, and I better. I don't know if my coworker's watching or not, but I better get my answer in before she does.
I think there's a theme on this one. We got lava lamp, and lava lamp.
Oh my goodness, they're looking at my answers at this point. Someone's on our website and they're taking it. They're taking it all in.
They're cheating. They have to be.
Most definitely.
These are great. I think I hate to say it, but if we were playing traditional categories, all of y'all would get no points because you're overlapping.
0. And then whoever said looking into lactase would get double the points because they have 2 L's.
There you go. That was smart. Was it you?
It was 9. I wouldn't have gotten any points because lava lamp, and apparently apparently that's the number 1 science experiment today, huh?
Yeah, well, it's getting late. I bet everyone's just kind of, our brains are working on low fuel. It gets dark out so early now. Look behind me; it's completely.
Oh, no.
All right. I've got mine locked and loaded.
This is different. I just want to put liquid, but that's not a piece of equipment.
Could be if you use it for something.
That's true.
Lollipop. I want to work where they're working.
Right.
Lamp.
Lysol wipes.
I think everybody's using Lysol wipes right about now, so that is a great one.
I should have thought of that one for sure.
I love level. All right. Who's doing that? It's like a broken record over here. All right. So now that we have all played categories, we had some fantastic answers from our peanut gallery. Thank you to everyone who shot in some answers. I gotta say there were some really funny ones and there were actually some really good ones. We're gonna go ahead and move into some questions that we have from the audience. They've been kind of trickling in. The first, it's from, doesn't say, but it says favorite state not named Texas. Which one do you think is your favorite state not named Texas?
My favorite state, it would have to be. I'm torn between Georgia and Louisiana. I'm definitely torn between the two.
So why would you say you're torn? What are some pros?
Well, both of them are a good time. Okay, Georgia and Louisiana, good time, but not only a good time, good food. Okay, I love to eat. If you don't know anything else, know that Des loves to eat. However, Louisiana, I couldn't get with the weather. I couldn't do with the changes. I just couldn't. And with Georgia, it's being biased because I've only been to 2 of the places. So that's why it's some pros and cons to that.
Okay. I'll take that answer. I'll accept it. The two I'll allow. All right, now we have a couple more. It's one of them says, "Do you live on the lab?" Which fair question since you seem to travel so much with it.
Oh man, if I got paid for every time I answered this question, the students, that's like one of the first things they ask. Do you guys live on here? Where do you sleep? What do you eat? Because I mean, It's a very, very nice lab, which is why I can kind of get. But no, I do not live on the lab. We don't live in our cars. We don't drive the lab. We tend to meet the lab at the school and whichever hotel. Well, lately we've been in some rural places that don't have hotels, but we stay in the nearest city and we get a hotel there. So, no, don't live on the lab just yet. But if we keep building these fancy things, I'm gonna request a bed and a restroom.
I know. I was just gonna say the same thing. I think we probably could live on the lab, you know? It might be nicer than some of the apartments, we've been staying in, but all right, so
Right.
final answer, no. Desiree does not live on the lab. She's allowed to
No.
stay in a hotel. We do not require her to be on there 24/7. All right, now, this is a good one. We just talked about food. Would you say you're a barbecue or a seafood person?
Oh, it's crazy because I'm definitely a seafood person. Okay. I am a seafood. I think so. When people think of Texas, they think, of course, they must love barbecue. However, sometimes we eat it for like every occasion, July 4th, your birthdays, family reunions. And so you get to the point where it's like, no more barbecue. And so I actually know how to barbecue myself. And so every now and then when I get bored, I pull out the pit and just do it big in the yard. And so seafood, good seafood is rare to find around here. And so it's funny that you guys are from, y'all are in Maryland. I'm in Texas. I bet you if we could flip, that would just be amazing because I could just eat crabs every day. And I have coworkers who could eat barbecue every day. So yeah, definitely seafood, guys. I like it.
All right, good answer. Because as a Marylander through and through, I would say seafood too, so I'm glad that you picked the right one. All right, now
Oh
we have
yeah.
another one. Favorite location for a job interview? That's an interesting one.
Hmm. Favorite location for a job interview? Can I let you guys in on a little secret? I've had a job
Please.
interview at a restaurant before. At a restaurant, and so it was kind of like eating out with friends. So I would have to say that was probably my favorite interview in a restaurant because it wasn't so like you didn't have to be so uptight. You could kind of just breathe a little. You could eat, and yeah, that one works for me for sure.
That's interesting. I wouldn't have pegged like a restaurant for, a very conducive area to talk because sometimes they're so loud, it might be hard to like, get some good answers out of somebody.
Surprisingly, it wasn't so loud, and people would walk up that I know and like talk to me and give me kudos because I think they had just seen me in the newspaper or something. So I'm pretty sure that just like gave me double the points for my job. Like I know
True.
it kind of boosted you. So yeah, I'd do it again. That's for sure.
All right. I don't know if you guys know, but Desiree's a bit of a local superhero in Wharton. She's our star kid. She's got some fans over there, so
That's what I hear. That's what I hear.
rightfully deserve your horns. Okay, we've got a couple more. Next one is paper or plastic.
Paper or plastic? Huh. I don't. I'm gonna go with paper. Sometimes the sound of plastic annoys me. Like too many plastic bags and things like that. It's just not. It's. I don't know. I don't know what it does to me. So, yeah, definitely paper.
All right. Environmental queen over here, paper. Paper's her final answer. As we're floating heads, we wanted to ask if you have any final advice you'd like to kind of give to our viewers or any kids might be looking to get involved in STEM.
Final advice, guys, is just go for it. Just do it. Like, I don't work for Nike or anything like that, but I am like a firm believer in just do it. If it's on your mind the slightest bit, if you and it doesn't even have to be just career wise, whatever it is that's what's there and it's bugging at you and you've been thinking about it and you've been dreaming about it, you've been daydreaming about it, just go for it. Don't let anything stop you. Don't let stereotypes, don't let bias, don't let background, don't let anything get in the way of what you want to achieve. You're more than capable. Put your mind to it, go out and just do it.
I think that's great advice for life too. So, thank you so much for coming on, Desiree. You were fantastic. One of our best guests ever.
Thank you for
And with
having me. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate the opportunity.
Of course, of course. Thank you so much for coming on. And with that, we are going to say goodbye to everybody. Thank you guys for joining. If you have any more questions, you can go to Learning Undefeated on socials. Our handles are right down there, over there. And go ahead and tag us. Thanks, guys.